We start with the name of Allah, who is most beneficial and merciful. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to a seminar based on the topic Journal Writing Techniques and Issues Faced by Non-Native Speakers. For this particular session, I would like to invite Ms. Mariam Basit, who is a very experienced ELT teacher, and she has worked with the different universities and the different institutions related to the writing and reading strategies and techniques. So we are welcoming her to the FAST University virtually this time. So ma'am, the floor is open for you.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Wasif. Am I audible to you people?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Is this screen visible?
Yes, the screen is visible. You can put the screen on the full screen mode.
Fine. Okay, my name is Mariam Basit and I'm teaching English nowadays. I'm dealing with public speaking. I'm dealing with proficiency development. I'm dealing with different things related to language nowadays. So today the topic is general writing techniques and issues faced by non-native speakers. So before starting presentation and before discussing this agenda, before discussing the issues students usually face regarding these languages, the second languages usually, I would like you to note one thing, that you should have a notepad, and if you are having any query or you want to ask any question, so please note down and you may raise that question by the end of discussion. Why? Because sometimes it happens that we have some questions and confusions in our mind, and while exploring that discussion, while having that discussion, we get the answer for that. So should I start, Mr. Wasif?
Yes, ma'am, you can start.
Fine. So the term comes, students, if you are listening to me, I have a simple question from you, that do you understand this word non-native speaker? What is this? Do you have any understanding to this non-native speakers? Who are non-native speakers and what do you understand by this? Any idea? Students, if you are hearing me, if you are listening to me, so if you understand this word non-native speaker, can you answer me? Any one of you?
Yes, students, you can give your feedback as well. Any idea about the non-native speakers?
Okay, let me tell you one thing. We are non-native for English. Why? Because we are living in Pakistan and our national language is Urdu. Okay, so this English is not our language. It's not our first language. Okay, we are not living in those countries where the first language is English. Okay, so usually this is the most important reason why we face so many issues and so many problems while speaking, listening, reading and writing any language, is this: we are non-native speakers. Okay, and because of this we are having problems in speaking, listening, reading, and today the particular agenda is to discuss writing techniques and issues we face when we are writing that language. It's not our first language. English is not our first language, right? So common issues I usually face while writing in English. This is a question for you students. I would love you to answer to this question. So I'll have these all confusions and the common issues you are facing nowadays, or even like since long students are facing these issues. So would you please discuss the issues usually you face while writing in English? Any one of you, please.
By the way, students, you can use the raise hand button, or maybe you can switch on your mic as well to give the answers.
Yes, you can switch on the mic and you can start answering. So I would love you to take part in this discussion. That will be more good for us to understand it. Like common issues I usually face while writing in English. What are those issues I usually face? I means you. For me, This was important. That's why I have put here I. So what are the common issues you usually face while writing in English?
Okay, some of the students have given the answers in the chat box as well. So you can also see their responses.
Okay, fine. Let me check the chat box then. I have to minimize the screen.
Okay, let me read for you. Okay, like one of the students has given the answer that we are not having enough vocabulary with us. So
Fine.
therefore, that could be one of the major issues.
Okay.
The second has said that we cannot articulate our thoughts properly into the good words.
Okay, these are the common issues. Yes, Wasif, when we usually don't have vocabulary. Why? Because it's not our culture. When you are not having that culture, the vocabulary is ultimately you are short of vocabulary, and students want to express their ideas, but they are unable to articulate. They are having pronunciation issues sometime, and sometime it happens that they are hesitant. They have that fear inside that, okay, whether I'm right or wrong, because sometime it happens that we have conventional or traditional environment where we are sometime people mock, sometime you will confront lots of things, psychological barriers are there, social issues are there when we are speaking another language. And English nowadays, is to students who face these problems, this is usually related to this English language. Why? Because sometimes it's associated with prestige. If you are like pronunciating a word, having a pronunciation of word in Urdu, so people will not laugh at you more often. You will find this thing. But comparatively, if you are having a wrong pronunciation for a word in English, so all of a sudden people get weird kind of responses. So lots of psychological issues and psychological barriers are also there. Another thing is this, sometimes that it's not our habit to read, it's not our habit to listen to that language, in particular English. If it's a subject, we will start dealing with it. So usually people stick to grammatical elements, but they forget that if this language is not part of daily life, so that will ultimately create problems for us the way or the other. Sometimes it creates hindrances. Why? Because we are short of vocabulary. Why we are short of vocabulary? Because we are not using that language in real life situation. So what is real life situation? You come out of that ideal thing that, okay, this is an essay, this is a paragraph, this is a topic, a very calculated thing, you have to go for it. No, when you start using this language in your real life, I mean your real life situation, in dialogues, in discussions, in interactions, in collaboration with your fellows, your class fellows, so that leaves a very good impact on you, and it helps you to enhance your vocabulary. Vocabulary is not the only thing that you will memorize. You will have cramming for that until and unless you don't use it in your daily life situations. When you start using it in daily life situations, that becomes part of your long-term memory. Where did you use it? Okay, so that's really important. As far as this issue is concerned, that we are not having vocabulary sometime. Okay, these are the common things, students, when we think that how should I start when any assignment, any written agenda is given to us. So we have this thing in mind that how should I start? For example, my teacher has given me a paragraph. For example, my teacher has given me an essay to write. So how should I start it? It's a common question in our mind. A fear inside being non-native speaker, I'll write wrong. I'll have grammatical issues. Maybe I don't have expression. Maybe I'm wrong in conveying my ideas. Okay, teacher will punish me, or somebody may punish. It's not a generalized situation. Okay, so should I start abruptly? We sit, we don't think, and we start writing abruptly, and then we are lost. Okay, sometimes it happens that we are lost. Now, in the middle of that situation, we are lost, and then we leave it, we quit. Why this happens? This is not only the psychological reason, okay, that we are having fear. This is not only the part of vocabulary, okay. This is not only the part of these things that we are unable to have accurate pronunciation, but we take rubrics and rules for granted. Sometimes it happens, and now this agenda nowadays, it's usually prevailing in society that don't go for the rubrics rules. Okay, rubrics are actually performance criteria, that this is a way, a criteria to write something. So sometimes it happens that when we are having discussions in class, or we are having so many books are published, why people have bothered to publish these all things if we don't read them, right? So when we don't follow these rubrics, these performance criteria, and we don't follow the rules for writing something, so we are having these problems. Now students have a question always that it's about speaking. When you learn how to speak, you learn how to write. No. Why? Because writing and speaking both are different. Okay, they both are skills and they both are different. Why they are different? Speaking can be informal, right? But the writing is formal. Usually you go for letter writing, usually go for CV writing, usually you go for essay writing, you go for paragraph writing, you are sometimes given modal verbs as per situation, kindly use them. So in that you are not going to write sounds, you are not going to write it broken pieces. We want formal rubrics, okay, and we have to follow the rules. So it does not mean that you cram the rules, but when you think that you are speaking, you are having discussion, keep one thing in mind that the rules cannot be avoided. Okay, what are the rules? How a sentence is written in a proper way, and why it's important to follow rules. If you know these all things, if you know the rubrics, you on tips that okay, I'm starting a paragraph, I'm stuck. If you know the rubrics, okay, I have to do this when I will start, then how I can add the elements in that, and then how can I conclude that. If you know the rubrics on tips, it will be much easier for you. Okay, how to start, appropriate structure. Now people sometimes jump into the situation, they start writing abruptly, okay, and then they don't have followed don't have composed a proper structure, and that again creates a problem. Okay, word limit, we don't follow the word limit. Sometimes it happens that the students all say that I had lots of words, I had lots of ideas. Why you said that I have to write in 7 to 8 lines? Because there is a certain rubric. If I allow or I give this liberty to a student or anyone that please write a paragraph and the word limit is your choice, then think what is the difference between a paragraph, an essay, or summary? There is no difference if there is no word limit. Okay, ideas are important. Okay, writing style is important. That's why we consider rubrics. Okay, so rubrics mean a certain criteria. How one essay can be different from another one, what are the important things we have to follow for that, what is the proper structure, how we can keep the difference, how we can divide anything into proper writing. For example, if we are writing any essay, how we can divide it, how the paragraph can be composed, okay, how we are concluding any writing, what is irrelevant. If somebody has asked us to stick to this point, are we sharing the same point, are we discussing the same point, or we are deviated from that point? That is another important thing you have to keep in your mind. Okay, why I'm discussing these things, students, with you? Because these are the things create problems for us when we are writing. We go for the discussion that okay, we are writing paragraph this way, we are going to write this thing this way, but we don't keep this thing in mind that there is a term rubric and there are certain rules. So keep these all things in mind when I start discussing the different styles of writing with you. I'm going to start with sentence structure with you. That will be a precise discussion on sentence structure, because my agenda is to discuss with you paragraph writing and for few more things. But why I came up with sentence structure, so you can have at least a quick recap in a jiffy. So at least you keep this thing in mind, why sentence structure is even important when we are going to develop or we are going to compose a paragraph. Students, do you find any difficulty ever in sentence structure when you are writing, or you are asked to write different sentences, or when you are asked to compose a paragraph and you get confused at how to compose or how to write the sentences, how to connect these sentences? Have you ever noticed this thing that what is the point where we are having problems and why we have wrong sentence structure. Have you noticed this thing, or have you thought about it ever? Any one of you? Class? Not often. Okay. Anyone else, please? Okay. So Taha, would you please elaborate? Yasir, can you turn on your mic and discuss this matter with me? Amna? Okay. If you don't mind opening your mic and discuss this matter, would you please speak on this, Amna?
Yes, anyone? You would like to share your problems faced while making different kind of sentences?
That would be appreciated if you discuss it on mic. I would appreciate this thing because I'll get the exact idea what you want to say. Please don't hesitate and discuss whatever comes to your mind regarding sentence structure even. Amna or Abdul Faisal, many of you are there. Huzafa, Waleed.
Yes, because being teachers, we know that the students always face difficulty while making the variety of sentences in a paragraph, or maybe whenever they are writing the longer pieces. So definitely they struggle sometimes.
Yes, that happens. And Wasif, have you faced this thing that students write complicated sentences which they even don't understand what actually they have written? That becomes an ambiguous picture in a paragraph. Sometimes.
Yes, it happens because what happens then, it becomes a run-on sentence, and multiple things has been shared in a single sentence.
Yes.
And they themselves are unable to decipher that which category of the sentence is being made by them. Either it can be considered as a compound or complex, or maybe compound, complex, both. So definitely, it happens usually with us whenever we are making sentence. Like, let me share my own example when I was studying. So it happened to me as well. Like, whenever we are being called, or you can say asked to write the multiple variety of the sentences, so we do struggle. So it happens mostly that being a non-native, we mostly struggle in converting our thoughts into the variety of sentences. Mostly we find, I guess, much ease while making the simple sentences.
Very good. I wanted to listen this from you that plain and simple sentences are very good to get done with.
Definitely,
and they'll help you. You know, when I was even student, and one of my teacher always said that, please, Mariam, you may have good ideas, you may have lots of ideas, but when you make long sentences, you yourself get confused in that, and that becomes ambiguous sometime. And until and unless you are unable to deal with them in an extraordinary way, just avoid making long sentences or avoid making complex compound sentences, what I mean to say, because simple sentences are there, you know what you have written and you know how to justify them. So you may have compound sentences, rather simple, but avoid complex compound sentences when it comes to paragraph writing in particular, because there is a difference. You know, it varies from writing to writing. You are not an article writer or blogger that you can move around and you can play with your fantasies and imaginations in a writing. Sometimes it happens, it's your academic part of your curriculum that you have to write a paragraph or you have to compose something where you don't go for such kind of risks in writing. So I suggest and I prefer plain and simple sentences, or usually I prefer compound sentences where at least you can justify yourself, you can justify your agenda. So the simple sentences are usually positive, they can be negative. Okay, they can have a question, they can have order, they can have exclamation. Okay, they all are in the category of simple sentences because the structure is simple. A simple verb, a simple your subject, and it's done. Okay, This is the simple sentence is important when it comes to paragraph writing, or you are having conversation with someone while like reading or writing any statement, anything. Simple sentences are good to get done with. Then we have compound sentences. Now, what is the agenda to discuss compound sentences? Because you have liberty, okay? You can join two sentences, two simple sentences, and the thing is conjunction. Students, have you noticed there are railway tracks, okay? And you find some junctions on the railway track also. The lines are independent. They are sometimes it happens that two things, they are independent, they are going on, but you can connect them somehow by using conjunction. They can stand alone, okay? She is working hard. She is working hard is a simple sentence, okay? She woke up a whole night, or she was working at night because she's having exam. So I can disconnect these two sentences, one single sentence, by removing this because. Okay, so it means that compound sentences are those sentences, they can stand alone, they are independent sentences, but if you want to make a connection, so you can use conjunction. Conjunction is a part of speech. Okay, then you have complex and complex compound sentences. Why I have written this in blue? Complex means one independent, okay? And again, you have complex compound where two independent and one dependent sentence is there. And when we talk about complex, so here you can have one independent sentence, one dependent sentence. So these structures are sometimes confusing. Sometimes it happens that the things which I have portrayed in front of you, even that becomes confusing. Why it becomes confusing? Because we don't want to get into these divisions. Okay, complex is one independent and one dependent sentence. How should I make connection with them? I get confused. Okay, compound complex sometimes is again confusing. So the best thing is this, it's one of the good writing techniques that you go for simple sentences and you go for compound sentences. So try, it does not mean that you are not appreciated to write complex sentences, but practice them until unless you don't have command. It's very good that you go for simple sentences and compound sentences. Punctuation. Now, why I came up with this topic in a precise way, punctuation, because when we are writing, when we are having a structure, okay, for paragraph writing or for essay writing in particular, we are not bothering ourselves to have proper punctuation. Okay, for example, this writing is in front of you. Can you please tell me what kind of mistakes are there in these sentences? Any one of you? Then I will tell you what punctuation is all about. Any one of you, can you please tell me? Like, it's important for correct writing. It helps us. There is a gap, and then to understand the written text. Then we
commas are missing.
Sorry? Would you please?
Commas are missing.
Commas are missing. Okay. And Acha, is this right? I have put full stop.
And full stop as well, I think.
Yes, before W, I have put full stop. And then we understand when a sentence starts. Then I left it. There is no full stop and nothing. So how would I get to know whether it's done or I have to continue? Or is the idea which I'm going to discuss with someone is continue? How we end it? How we end it? H is small. Again a problem. Okay, if I'm starting a sentence, sometimes it happens, very good students have these mistakes. It's a matter of ignorance sometimes. How we end it, how we break a sentence, what's wrong with the lines above. So what's wrong with the lines above is an example I have kept here. Why? Because I wanted you to notice the important mistakes which we have when we are writing. And another mistake is it helps us, then there is a gap, unnecessary gap, to understand the written text. Okay, these are all are minor things when you are composing anything, when you are writing anything. Okay, but these are building blocks, these are the bricks. When you are going to have a building, you want to make a building, these are like bricks. This punctuation is a brick. Okay, This sentence structure is a brick. These things are important when you are writing. Following the rubrics, that creates works like cement. Okay, why? Because of that, any writing is powerful, that is appealing. Okay, that stays for long. So this is really important. Again, I have written a sentence for you. Ali, Sabir, Faria, Shazia are playing outside. So what's wrong with this sentence? Ali, Sabir, Fariha, Shazia are playing outside. What's wrong with this sentence? Any one of you? What's wrong with this sentence? Ali, Sabir, Fariha, Shazia are playing outside.
Okay, Bahadur, you can speak on your mic as well.
Yes, please, if you can, that's very good if you can speak on mic. Okay, the commas are missing, okay, Ali?
Ma'am, as far as I know, commas are missing in this.
Yes, Babar, the commas are missing here because we have Ali, Sabir, Fariha, okay, and Shazia, because Shazia at last. So, and is also missing. Ali, Sabir, Fariha, and Shazia are playing outside. Okay, so the commas are missing, but the and is also missing. This and tells us that Shazia is a last name. Shazia is the last name in this sentence. Okay, so when we are having lots of options, so by the end of that, we often forget this and. Okay, apparently it seems a very minor thing, but when you will have punctuation rules, if you will study the proper punctuation rules, usually 13 to 14 rules are there. When you go for those rules, you will understand what kind of mistakes usually we have. Students, when you will have command on rules of punctuation, when you are going to follow the rubrics, when you are going to follow these all important things and how to generate a proper or accurate sentence structure, you will not find any difficulty in writing, in composition. Okay, so what is a paragraph? First of all, tell me in your words, what do you understand by this word paragraph? What is a paragraph for you? Any one of you? I'm having a look at your chat as well, but please, I would appreciate if you can speak on mic and you can discuss with me what is paragraph for you. What do you understand by paragraph? Group of sentences with connected meanings. Okay, Bahadur Khan, that's good. And what else? Anything else you know about paragraph writing or paragraph? These are group of sentences. But what makes the difference? Why they are important? Why we call it a paragraph? Any idea?
Ma'am, paragraph is a group of sentences that contains a single
That
idea.
contains a single idea. That's good. Yes. And a distinct section of a piece. I cannot read it. Can you please speak? Who wrote it on chat?
Ma'am, you can click on the chat option given on the right side.
Fine.
Next to the people, yes.
Okay, I got it. Thank you, Wasif. It revolves around one idea at one time. Okay, group of sentences with connected meanings. Fine. Connected meaning. What is this, Bahadur? Can you explain this? Group of sentences with connected meanings. Can you elaborate it? I just want to understand what you want to say here. Like group of sentences with connected meanings. What is this connected meanings? Indentation or numbering. Shahroz, can you please tell me what is this numbering here in a paragraph? You can write it. Okay, you don't have mic, but if you can write it, Shahroz Siddiqui. Relevancy with the subsequent sentences. Okay. And Sheroz, you? What about you? Details. Fine. Okay. One by one. All right. So you have written so many things here on chat, and I have read it for you. You were discussing this with me, paragraph and all that. So why I asked these words from you? I mean, do you think your word choice was having a problem? Any issue was there with the word choice problem? Shahroz and Bahadur. A little. Fine. Okay, let's see what is paragraph writing. And yes, he definitely he would have done this. He's a skillful person. Okay, one thing is word choice. Okay, that's why I wanted your opinion on these things. And another thing is paragraph writing. So let's see what is paragraph writing. Okay, so do one thing first. Bahadur is there and Feroz is there and few of you. If you can tell me, you can take 5 minutes, and if you can tell me how you would start a paragraph and how you would end a paragraph, just make few bullets on Karachi, City of Lights. It's a topic for paragraph. And another topic is online study is. Okay, it's a broken sentence. There are two sentences, and you can start paragraph with them, or you can use them in the middle of a paragraph somewhere. But just tell me how you would write a paragraph. How would you start it? How would you connect it with examples, and how you would end it? You can speak on that. You can write it on chat. Okay, how you would deal with it, and you can come up with the bullets as well for discussion. I would appreciate if you have mic, but in case if you are not having mic, just write on chat how would you get done with these two topics. Karachi, City of Lights, and online study is this. What? Okay, continue it. Add sentences and let me know how you write a paragraph. Then we will have discussion on paragraph writing. Is it okay, class?
And which paragraph are you referring to? Like we have many
The
kind of paragraph, like introductory paragraph, body paragraph, or conclusion paragraph.
whatever you understand, whatever clicks to your mind. In general, first tell me this thing, okay? Then I'm going to discuss the divisions and further things. I just want to see your expression. How would you come up with a paragraph? And how these lines click to your mind. Sometimes you get the idea yourself what kind of paragraph it can be. So there is sometimes no need to tell you. These two things are there. Bahadur, write a paragraph or tell me how you would start, how you would connect it with the body of paragraph, and how you would conclude it in one go. Please tell it in one go. Take 5 minutes. You can take 5 minutes just at ease. Think about it and let me know, please. Have you people got the idea what you have to do? Okay.
Ma'am, you can share the slide as well so that they can refer back to the
Fine.
topics again.
Fine.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, are they supposed to write the complete paragraph, ma'am, or
No, I
the
just
outline?
no, I just want bullets from them. It would be
Oh,
better that if they write bullets and they let me know that how they are composing that paragraph or how would they compose that paragraph.
okay, so the outline is enough, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so students, you can share the outline as well, like how you will going to frame your sentences in a paragraph.
Just make a sketch of it that how would you write a paragraph, how would you start it, how would you add body of a paragraph, what will be the important thing there. Okay, Taha has written a paragraph here. It's okay, Taha. Can you discuss this thing on mic that if this is a topic for you, how would you conclude it? Do you have mic, Taha?
Yes, ma'am. What are you saying?
Yes, like you have started good. Online classes is a new mode of teaching and learning. The concept of virtual education is introduced recently, okay, amidst COVID-19 havoc. Majorities educational institutes opted this way of teaching in order to save. So can you tell me which line is the most important in this paragraph, this whole paragraph?
Yes, I think the second one.
What is the second line? Now Bahadur has written here. Can you please read that line?
This concept of virtual education is introduced.
Recently. Okay, this is the most important line.
Yes, ma'am. Because before that, I hadn't listened that online classes are being conducted by an institution, especially in Pakistan. So this new mode of learning and teaching is recently introduced during Corona havoc.
Acha, Taha, when we are like composing a paragraph, so is this important that something is new? That is the most important thing in a paragraph, or a sentence that connects the whole paragraph? That is important. Hmm? My question is this. Did you understand my question? Taha? Taha, did you understand my question? Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am. No, can you please repeat this again?
My question is this, that you said that it never happened before, so that's why this line is important. My question is this, that is this the reason a line should be important, or there is one line in whole paragraph that gives a thematic idea, a theme of that paragraph, that line is important. Which line is important?
Basically, the thesis of the statement, or you can say main idea of the paragraph is important. Here, basically, एक ही मतलब कि ये इत्तेफाक से ऐसा हो गया.
जी. So, should we call it thesis statement?
No, I don't think so. As I write, I didn't write the complete paragraph.
Fine. So what
This
do
is
we
not a
call it?
complete paragraph.
What do we call that particular sentence? Is there any name for that?
Yes, ma'am, sure. I will tell you. Just wait for a while.
Okay. Yes, Bahadur. How you would introduce Karachi has immense potential to grow. It is also referred as the city of light. Okay. Body. It was once among the fastest growing cities in the world. The lack of commitment to the betterment of city resulted in the devastated infrastructure and prestige of the city. Okay. Acha Bahadur, tell me one thing. You have written well. That's very good. I appreciate this thing. Are you stick to that one line I have given, Karachi, City of Lights? Bahadur? Is this one idea in this paragraph you will discuss? Like you are going to discuss immense potential, one, then fastest growing city, 2, then the lack of commitment to the betterment of the city, 3, then once a great city, but now, 4th, a contradiction there also. I mean, 3 to 4 things in one paragraph. So don't you think there is, can you justify the theme? Can you connect it to the major point that Karachi as a city of light? Bahadur?
मिस ये कंप्लीट ऐसे एक पैराग्राफ नहीं
Acha, I asked you about paragraph. It's okay, never mind. Let us discuss that paragraph writing then. Okay, what is this visible to you, class? What is paragraph? Is this visible to you? Fine. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when we say paragraph writing, students, we have a topic sentence, and that is not called thesis statement. Thesis statement is something else. Okay. So a topic sentence is called a focus sentence. And why we call it a focus sentence? Because it tells the idea we are going to discuss in that paragraph. That is really important. Okay. Second thing is connectors. I'm going to share that list of connectors with you also. Okay, what are connectors? Connectors are really important when we are writing a paragraph. Okay, what are connectors? Additionally, furthermore, with the passage of time, okay, subsequently, nevertheless, hence, at the end, it can be said, these all are connectors, okay, and they are very good, very appealing. They create a theme, one central idea, they make it more strong when we use connectors. So they are really important. Examples of body of paragraph. Students, when we have one topic sentence and we start our paragraph with that, or maybe we are expert to use it in the middle of the paragraph somewhere. So the body of paragraph contains examples. Okay, those examples are really important. How we connect, how we justify that topic sentence. And then the important thing is conclusion. Okay, and there is never a direct conclusion. We always use connectors to end it. It can be said, okay, in general it can be said, okay, nevertheless, hence, like these all are connectors and we use them, okay, to end our paragraph in a nice way. Another thing is word limit. 7 to 8 lines are more than enough for writing a good paragraph. Okay, you have to narrow down your ideas. You have to put them, like you have to make all the ideas in a connection. Plus, you have to give a precise picture. Okay, and when you are having precise picture, or how you are able to like gel up these ideas together, when you don't deviate from the track. What is deviation? For example, if I say that write on Karachi as a city of light, so just describe it. Okay, we are not going to share or discuss in one paragraph the problems Karachi is facing, how was Karachi few years back, okay, or how Karachi is facing electricity issue and these things and all that. Because my agenda was to ask Karachi as a city of lights. It means that that should be descriptive paragraph that clicks to our mind. We have to describe things. We have to be focused on this thing that Karachi is city of lights. So that's really important. Okay, how we stick to that point. If I say that Karachi is a big city, Karachi is an industrial place, it's a hub of marketing and business and management and all that, it means that was not my topic. I just changed the track. Okay, paragraph is having one focus. My focus is changed. I don't have to fix all the sentences together just to complete my word limit, but I have to be focused on the same thing. I have to describe it now. How I can describe Karachi as a city of lights? I can talk about the lights are there. People never sleep early. Okay, the lights are always there. So I have to share the life of that Karachi. That's why it's called city of lights. Okay, why it's called city of lights, that should be my agenda to discuss. Okay, it means that one paragraph, one idea. A paragraph can be descriptive, a paragraph can be argumentative, and a paragraph can be narrative. Okay, description, argumentation, and narrative we are going to discuss in essay writing right now. But in simple words, if somebody says you to describe, it means you are not going to raise any argument, you are not going to discuss any logic or any controversial element in that. Okay, if somebody asks you to write argumentative paragraph, so the premise or the line, the topic sentence given to you, that will click to your mind, that will indicate that you have to argue on that. Okay, there will be a logical sentence in front of you. Then we have narrative. Okay, narrative is purely story type paragraph. Simply, sometimes it happens as a person gives you a paragraph, okay, this is one line, broken line, complete it in the form of story. Okay, so that's how paragraph is having this variety. Okay, first of all, we are going to discuss these few approaches, and then we are moving towards essay writing. These approaches are really important when we are writing paragraphs. These approaches are really important when we are writing essays. Okay, the number one is subjective approach. What is subjective approach? When you add your personal feelings to something, okay, your emotions to something, so that is subjective approach to write something. And what happens that when we are having any formal documents like CV writing, letter writing, or anything like that, we never go for subjective approach. But when we have descriptive essay writing, we have liberty to go for subjective approach. Okay, subjective means that you can share your personal experiences, you can share your personal feelings, you can add your personal vision, your observations to that. Okay, that can be your lens of observing something. That is subjective approach, right? So that is really important. Then we have objective approach. Now, sometimes it happens, I'm breaking this thing here, sometimes it happens that people say they are from engineering school or like that. Why they say, why you people discuss sometime descriptive essay writings with us? It has nothing to do with us. Sometimes it happens, but it's a skill. Why? Because objective approach is really important, and objective approach is also part of descriptive essay writing. Okay, subjective and objective, both approaches are really important. Subjective goes for your personal experiences, your observations, your likes, dislikes, your observation, your lens. But objective approach means that you are describing something from a distant view, that is not having your personal feelings, that is not having your personal approach to that thing. Okay, for example, you are writing a biography, you are writing a historical document, you are writing about any machine. Okay, in university you are given this, that please go and describe this machine. So with that, you are not going to attach your sentiments, because you have to be very focused while describing that machine. Okay, that depends and that varies from industry to industry you are discussing in. So if you are in engineering school, if you are in computer science, wherever, you have to for example, you have to talk about a website, you have to develop anything and you have to describe it. So you will technically go for objective approach, okay, to describe that thing. So these things are important in any genre. Then we have deductive approach and inductive approach. They are again very important when it comes to, in particular, when it comes to argumentative essay. But apart from that, you can use them in your descriptive essay writing. You can use them in your narrative as well. These are writing techniques. These approaches are good for writing. Okay. Deductive means you start with general idea. Okay. Your essay, you usually, or your paragraph even, you start it with general idea, general. Okay, and that is usually important for your essay writing. How you start your essay writing, it's always a confusion that how we start. So sometimes it happens you start it with deductive approach. Why deductive approach? You want to discuss it as a natural phenomena. Okay, you want to discuss it as a natural phenomena. For example, I want to discuss about diseases. Okay, for example, I want to discuss about diseases and I want to make it inductive. Okay, so what I will say, malaria is caused by plasmodium. Okay, so this is inductive. It means straightforwardly I have this hypothesis, I have this line, I have this statement, and I have to start writing on that. It means I was focused on one thesis statement or one line. Okay, for essay writing or for your thesis, for your research, I started working on that. Okay. But if I say that diseases are this and that, and I generally talk about diseases, and then in the second paragraph I start talking about malaria and all that, it means I started generally. Okay, that generic style is deductive usually. It means from general to specific, and inductive means from specific to general. Is this clear to you, class? This subjective, objective approach, deductive and inductive, is this clear?
Deductive, can you repeat the deductive one again?
Deductive. Deductive means the general idea. Look, it's like umbrella, chhatri. Okay, when you open that umbrella, okay, it means the ideas are scattered like this, general ideas. When you close that umbrella, it means that is inclined. Okay, so when you are specifically starting any essay with a narrow statement, with a thin narrow statement, that is inductive. But when you start with it, you want to start any writing in a general way. Okay, in a general way. For example, if you are writing on cruelty, okay, so you start with humanity. Okay, you may start with humanity, you may start with the life in this world. So that is a general start, and then you narrow down your writing. So that's how we go. We start generally, and then step by step we become specific to our agenda. Okay, so it's like a discussion from general to specific, and an inductive from specific to general. Is this clear?
मिस
Is this
मिस
clear now?
मिस मिस पता कैसे चलेगा कि कौन सी अप्रोच यूज करनी है?
ये आप पे डिपेंड करता है, डिपेंड्स ऑन यू. You check the topic and you notice that this is the idea and I can work on it this way. This will be best. That depends on the information you have also. And when we say okay, which approach for subjective and objective, again that depends on topic. For example, if I ask you to write on a hilly spot, okay, a trip, a hilly spot or a beautiful place. A beautiful place can be beautiful for you in any way. It means that is subjective approach. But if I ask you to work on Abraham Lincoln and discuss some war material and describe in a very convincing way, it means you don't have liberty to go for subjective approach. That is a historical event. That is a serious issue. Any war, world war. Okay, I ask you to talk on World War One, World War Two. Okay, but describe it. Describe the bloodshed. It was there. Okay, describe the intensity, everything, the faces, the fear, everything. So this will click to your mind that you have to describe it, but your personal feelings and emotions are not there because it's a historical document and it's a responsibility on me that I go for the accurate thing. Got it? Did you understand this? The person who was asking a question?
Yes, miss.
Okay, and when we say deductive and inductive approach, so sometimes it happens that usually a choice for you. But when we say or talk about argumentative essay, so it depends what kind of premise is given to you, what kind of statement is given to you. Okay, so if it clicks to your mind that no, I don't want to take risk and I don't want to go for deductive approach, straightforwardly I will start with inductive approach. Okay, sometimes it happens that students, what they do, the best thing is this, that they make an outline for essay, and that outline always help them. Always help them. Why? Because they know whether they have to start in a deductive way, step by step, what will be the agenda in that paragraph, in the first paragraph, in the second, in the third. Okay, at the end they want to have inductive approach, they want to narrow down their topic. And sometimes it happens that they start with inductive approach in a very focused way, but then they say no, I want to end it in a very nice and interesting way that must be attention getter, and that should be deductive. So that depends on you, the one way you can start and the other way you end it. Understood? Any question here, class? Subjective, objective, deductive, inductive approach?
Yes, friends, if you have any question related to the approaches, so you may ask.
Okay. Okay, we are going to discuss essay writing, three types of essay writing, that is argumentative, narrative, and descriptive. Okay, and the standard word limit usually we have is 350 to 500 words, but sometimes it happens that the online teaching is going on, hybrid teaching and learning is there, so sometimes it happens that teachers make it precise for the facilitation of students, or sometimes because of the time limit it happens, but usually a very good and a very simple essay is 350 to 500 words, where usually we have 4 to 5 paragraphs. Usually it happens. It's a very typical style of writing any essay. Okay. So I'm going to start with descriptive essay, as I have discussed that paragraph. How can we come up with a descriptive paragraph? But the point is this, what is important in description? We forget this thing sometimes. Okay. Our five senses are very important. How something looks like, how something feels like, okay, how something touches like. Sometimes fragrances are there, sometimes we want to express them. Okay, if I ask somebody that I'm sitting in a room, so this is just a simple plain sentence, I'm sitting in a room. But if I say that I'm sitting in a room with orange vibrant colors, or with orange color and a brown window, so it means that I'm adding colors. Okay, and I'm adding colors, and that can create one picture in someone's mind. So that is really important that you observe these things. Your five senses are really important. Okay, how something looks like, how something feels like, these are part of your observations, and they are really important when you talk about descriptive essay writing. Then adjectives are again very important, because if you're not using adjectives, it means that you are not creating imagery in the mind of something in a proper way. What is imagery? An image. You sketch one thing, you write in such a way that it's a real picture. Now, it's not only about beauty and aesthetics, it's about anything. Even you can talk about machine, okay? Even you can talk about any experience in a technical world. You can describe it in such a way that that imagery becomes appealing to the other person. It's not only about literature, it's not only about English, it's about the world. Okay, that can be about technical world also. That's very important how you describe something. Okay, and in descriptive essay, usually as I have discussed with you, we go for subjective approach and we go for objective approach also. Sometimes it happens that you have a memory, you have a flashback, you go back in your past, you have some memory to discuss with someone. Okay, when we talk about subjective approach, so sometimes it happens that if you have idea how to adjust in your descriptive essay writing, you can add that paragraph. But remember one thing, that never add story in your descriptive essay writing. Then there will not be a difference between description and story. You can have one paragraph in the form of flashback, but the whole essay must not be a story. Okay, the whole essay should be purely descriptive, where we have to use five senses, we have to use our share our observations, we have to use adjectives, and we have to create a very good convincing imagery in mind of people. Okay, if you know how to use figurative language, so that is liberty for you. Sometimes people use, okay, metaphors and similes, if they understand this thing, they use it, otherwise people can avoid that. It's a liberty. Okay, so did you understand this descriptive essay writing? Any question here, class? Any question on descriptive essay? Any one of you, have you ever written descriptive essay, class?
Yes,
No,
students.
ma'am.
Wasif, have you ever given any topic, like if you think that there is some discrepancy in description, or have you ever experienced this thing?
Yes, definitely. Like in descriptive writing, it happens that mostly whenever we are assessing the scripts of the students, they started well, but during the description, mostly they come towards the narrative sometimes, or sometimes
Yes.
they are sharing their own opinions as well.
Yes,
So
yeah.
probably sometimes they have mixed both kind of essays together. Maybe they thought that it is just a description because they feel things according to their own lenses.
Yes.
So they start observing things according to their own opinions.
Yes.
So sometimes this kind of, you can say mostly the mixture we have found. So maybe you can, ma'am, suggest them some of the ways that how they can differentiate totally in between the descriptive and narrative.
Yes, I'm going to discuss narrative so they will ultimately understand it. But one example, one common example I want to give here, because whenever I give descriptive essay writing, I find one common mistake, and that is when I deliberately give this topic right on a hill station. I deliberately give this topic. Why I give this topic? Because usually students say we started journey from Karachi, we had great experience in train or aeroplane, and then we landed, and then we had this, and we went to north or KPK. You must have observed this thing also, Wasif. So this happens that they think that if you are asking for a hilly station, you are asking to describe a hilly station, so it's mandatory that someone is not sitting there and observing beautifully and expressing it, but rather they go for the whole story, that how was the adventure in that journey and how they reached. And what is the reason with this? Because we have a mindset that when we travel, because we are living in Karachi, so we have this mindset that we travel and we go to a beautiful place and then we explore that place. So when we say that describe anything, it means that you can describe as it is in front of you abruptly. You can start describing it. Okay, it does not mean that for description it's mandatory to travel a place. Your imagination can be there. Sometime a question is there, a common question is there, that you have given a topic an exotic place, but I did not visit somewhere, okay, and I don't know anything about that. So the best way is this, that instead of just adding the words and to get done with the word limit with your journey, what you have to do, that you have to think, you have to have imagination. That is really important. It's not necessary I went to Quetta, but I can imagine. I must have seen somewhere, or I can imagine a place. I can describe it in my own way. It does not mean that you travel the whole world all the time. But if a general topic is there, that an exotic place, that can be anything. Okay. If I say that this certain city with this certain criteria, then it's a responsibility. You have some time, you have to study. Okay, but usually such topics are not given to you in exams. Okay, in exams it happens that the general topics are there, and when the general topics are there, you can have the element of imagination, you can have the element of fantasy. It's not important you visit any exotic place, it's not important you have visited any hilly area, but at least you have some basic knowledge that what can be a hilly area, whether it can be green, it can be harsh beauty. So that are the basic things or the general knowledge you usually have. So you can go with it easily. Okay. So this is important, that when we are describing something, it's not important that all the things are experienced, or if you have not experienced anything, you cannot describe it. Because sometimes usually general ideas are asked in your exam. The specific things are not given, like write on historical event and describe it with minor intricacies. This is unjust, of course, and it's usually not given until and unless you're not informed on prior notice. So in simple way, you can go for description this way, where you have 5 senses, where you have adjectives, where you have imagery. Okay. When we talk about narrative and how narrative and descriptive is different, simply descriptive is describing something, okay, and narrative is story. It's a story, pure story. You have story in a drama, you have story in a movie, you have script, okay, and in that story you have action, in that story you have some suspense, in that story you can have climax, okay, it has a rising situation. So story is totally different. You don't add these things to the description. That's how we make the difference in description and narrative. Okay, in narrative essay writing, you can add dialogues even. Now the question comes usually that how we can add a dialogue in narrative essay writing, because it's an essay writing, we have paragraphs, how we can go for the dialogues. And sometimes a major mistake is there, that students start writing dialogues in a separate column, that okay, this is part of narrative essay, but if teacher said that this is dialogue writing, so we have to submit it this way. Dialogue is another thing, it's a separate expression. No, When you are having paragraphs in narrative essay writing and you know that it's a story and characters can be there in narrative essay writing, so ultimately the dialogues can be there. And these dialogues can be added in a paragraph. For example, you must have read lots of comprehensions in your ninth class, in your eighth class, in your seventh class, and you have seen lots of dialogues, okay, in your comprehension in your Oxford books. So that's how we go for narrative essay writing. It does not mean that you will write a separate dialogue for that. Okay. It's like a drama or a movie. How? Because sometimes it happens that we start with a future situation. Someone is sitting in a very horrible state and we start story with that, and then we can go in flashback. We can discuss past events. Okay. That's how we make our narrative challenging and interesting. And students, remember one thing: the most difficult writing is narrative writing. Why? Because you have to develop a story sometime. A sentence is given to you, a broken sentence is given to you sometime, and you have to develop it. Okay. Chronological order, what is that? That is arrangement or sequence of the ideas discussed step by step. For example, I start with the present. Okay. I start with present, but connected in a connected way. I discuss past and then future. If I have started with the future, then in a proper sequence or in a connected way, I have flashback. So that's how we go for narrative, and we have action in that action, in a sense that it's not just a description of something. Okay, you may have adjectives, but it does not mean that the writing is called descriptive essay writing. What makes it different from descriptive essay writing is a story. There is always a story in narrative, and in descriptive essay writing there is no need of story, because you have to describe it. You may have a flashback, but you describe it. Okay, is this clear to you, class? Any question for narrative essay writing?
Yes, ma'am, you can proceed.
Okay. So the final one is argumentative essay. That's again very important. Argumentative essay is important for everyone in all fields. Why? Because usually we have to go for simple essay writing, and then we may have thesis. We may have different variety of writings. We may have uh, different agendas where we can raise arguments, and we have to raise an argument. So the hook is very important when it comes to argumentative essay. What is that hook? That is attention getter always. That is a point, that is hypothesis, that's a statement. Okay, that is really important when we talk about argumentative essay. Sometimes one statement is given to you, one hypothesis is given to you, that is that can be logical. Okay, and you can make it illogical by giving logics, reasons, and proofs, and there is no place for emotions. It means it's totally different from narrative and descriptive. It's a formal essay writing where you have to give scientific reasons, you have to discuss facts, you have to give figures, research, evidences. If you are not giving any evidence, it will not be convincing for the reader. It will not be convincing for anyone who is reading your argumentative essay. Okay, I come up with a claim, but I don't have any reason for that. I don't have any logic for that. It means that I cannot convince my audience or the readers who are reading my idea argumentative essay. And it's purely objective. Why? Because you don't add your personal feelings. If you will add your personal feelings or your personal emotions, that will be biased. Okay, it means already you are taking side of something. When you are starting any argument, already you are against something without any reason, and that is clearly visible with your language. Students, always avoid this I word. I'm doing this, I want to say this, in my opinion. Okay, we never say this. We always go for it can be said. As per evidences, it can be proved. Okay, or it can be said. It means that you use indirect way, you use passive voices usually in these such kind of situations where nobody can blame you. I want to say this, I want to explain this in such a way. It means that's a huge responsibility. Then you should have great knowledge for that, facts, figures, reasons, and if you want to take that responsibility. So that's how it's a critical thing. Okay, argumentative essay does not mean it's something out of the world, but it needs logic, it needs reasons. It's not done with your like emotions, it's not with your expression, it's not about imagery, it's scientific kind of thing. Okay, you have to talk on that. So that's it from my side, Wasif. If students have any question, they can ask question, they can raise question regarding all these things, and if they have any issue in their mind, still they can ask for it.
Okay, yes, students. Now you can ask any kind of queries if you have related to the types of essays that are being discussed, or maybe you can ask any kind of suggestions from ma'am regarding the techniques of how we can improve our writing skills, or maybe what common issues do you face other than those that are being just discussed.
Yes, you can ask anything apart from this, even the discussion.
Because as a non-native speakers, it always happened to us that maybe even there are so many students, we mostly, yes ma'am, we have found that they are very good in terms of proficiency.
Yes.
But when it comes to writing in the second language, so they always struggle, or maybe they came up with some of the very common kind of, you can say, errors that are not academic in nature. So therefore, yes, that is actually
one most important thing is this, Wasif, that when we talk about English and this language, we accept it as a non-native speaker. You know, when we will stop thinking that it's not our language or it's out of the box or something like that, we will have that psychological mind state as well, that how we can get with it easily. We go for the tactics. So sometimes it happens that the solution is in our hand. The practice is there, the discussion is there, and when we make it part of our life, so we have ample command on it, you know.
Yes, definitely. Oh, ma'am, maybe you can suggest them any kind of journal tips regarding to improve their academic writing, especially because most of them are studying the course that is basically related to the academic writing. So
Okay.
maybe your suggestions would be more, I guess, helpful for them.
What is actually included in their academic writing, the syllabus? What actually they are having nowadays?
Basically, they have all of certain things. Mostly, you have discussed it, like the sentence structures. We have the paragraph writing, the different types of essays, and the reading is also being included in it.
Okay. Are they having letter writing, Wasif?
No, ma'am, they are not having the letter writing.
Letter writing, fine. They are going with these basic things for language, right? They
Yes.
have, okay. So if they have any question, they can ask regarding modal verbs or anything. If they want to ask anything about that, apart from this discussion, I can discuss with them. Usually, it happens that I have discussed in the discussion before that when you have these rubrics in front of you and you don't take them for granted, you learn how to write. If you on tips, you know that this is a criteria for writing this essay. This is a criteria for writing this essay. This is criteria for writing a proper paragraph. What happened? It happened in front of you, Wasif. You have noticed in the samples they have shared for paragraph writing that deviation is there from track. You know. So when we have this, we know this thing that one idea should be there, but we don't implement it when we are writing. And this is the most important thing. Students have this idea that this is a grammatical structure, but they are not implementing it when they are writing. And one important thing is review. They don't have a check on that writing, whether we have done it right or wrong. There must be a checklist always. A checklist for descriptive essay writing. Okay, adjectives are done, imagery is done, this is done, that was really important for this essay. A checklist for paragraph. This is word limit, done. This is one focused idea, done. Have I deviated from this? Yes or no? Okay, so for this, the best thing is you make an outline. I asked that's why to come up with the basic thing how you will write a paragraph. Why? Because until unless we don't have outline, this is a practice stage, you know. This is not a stage where you are expert that you will, you know, and you start writing a paragraph on anything. If this is a stage, what happens that we always prefer having an outline for paragraph. Then we understand what is topic sentence. And if we don't struggle for the topic sentence, we never realize what is topic sentence. You will find it in dictionary, you will find it on internet. This is topic sentence, this is topic sentence, this is topic sentence. But if you will not practice it, you will not struggle for that one topic sentence for your paragraph, it means that you cannot write one paragraph in a proper way. Usually we start writing paragraph abruptly. There is no topic sentence actually in the whole paragraph. That you must have observed this thing, that the topic sentence, people know what is topic sentence, but in the paragraph you will not find that topic sentence. That happens usually.
Yes, that happens, and therefore all of their other sentences are usually become vague, and probably they lost that particular concept of writing the paragraph.
That's why.
There is one thing that is being asked by Bahadur as well in the chat box. Like he asked that, Miss, we don't have enough time in exams to review the paragraph.
Look, for that, I best suggest that we give equal time to all questions. Sometimes it happens that we don't know how to divide our, if you know that your speed is not fine, you take much time for that, you have not have ample time. So you have to make justice with this. It hardly takes a minute. And when it takes a minute, when you have habit of reading, when you don't have habit of reading, even your writing itself takes lots of time in paper. Okay, what is that technique for reading and reading? Students, skimming and scanning. If you know that, okay, this is my topic sentence because I struggled for that sentence, you in a jiffy you get to know this is my topic sentence, I wrote it because you worked on outline. And students, if you have worked on outline, sometimes there is no need of a check for your writing because you know how you made it, you're very confident. And that's why, that is because why you are confident, because you worked on outline. At that time when you were writing, you thought about topic sentence, so there is no confusion, there is no ambiguity. It's like a ripple. You throw a stone in water, it's like a ripple, and that ripple is really organized. When you just hit the target, it means that if you have worked on topic sentence, then there is no problem with that. But if the topic sentence is not there, or the main agenda you are deviated, it means it's useless. Whatever you write, even if you have checked it again and again, you will not understand your work even. So that is again very important. And if you want to improve your reading, just go for reading techniques also. Skimming and scanning is there, and that itself is done when you have developed habit of reading. You can have reading one article, one page of book even on daily basis. That really helps. We sometimes get bothered with this thing that why we should read. I don't have time for reading one page a day. But when you have this habit, it ultimately helps you in exam even. So that's really important for it. One more important thing is this, that when English paper is there, sometimes it happens that we take it for granted that we have done the rules, we know the rules, just leave it, we are relaxed, we will go and have this in paper. But if you don't want to revise, technically you cannot prepare yourself for all the topics. So the best way is keep a precise checklist in front of you, as I have discussed. This is a checklist for this writing, this is a checklist for this writing, this is a checklist to write paragraph, an essay, and this is a checklist for this particular writing. So that will really help you. That will be on your tips, you know, and then there is like you don't have chance of mistakes that much. Yes, any other thing?
Yes, students, if there is any other thing, so you can ask. Okay, ma'am, I guess we are not having enough questions left. But yes, simply whatever you have discussed with them probably would definitely help them in order to maybe shape up their writing skills further. And what mostly happens that why we are struggling, especially in the examination as well, during writing the paragraph or maybe essay or any piece of writing, that's the practice. If we do the practice accordingly that you have suggested us to be on the checklist every time and to use the rubrics as well, so automatically in the examination, we transfer that same knowledge automatically.
That's right.
And I guess we don't require any kind of review, or maybe much, we don't need to be bothered enough that we have done something wrong. Because
Yes.
automatically when we are in practice, so everything is on our fingertips,
Yes.
and we can automatically convert them into the proper piece of writing.
That's right, and that's why I'm saying, Wasif, that we don't have even developed habit of reading. So when we don't have the developed reading habit even, so we don't have that accuracy in mind. Okay, this is the best way to come up with a paragraph on this topic. Reading, writing, these all are connected. We cannot isolate writing from reading. We cannot isolate these all things. Listening is again very important. So these all things are important. You are able to manage time in your paper. And another important thing that is general in our life, but that needs attention. I say it to everyone, and that is observation. We are living in that era where we are having smartphones. We are much into that, and we lack observation. When we lack observation, we don't know how to use adjectives. When we lack observation, we don't know. We will go for our academics and syllabus and curriculum, but we will not go for different resources discussing like they are on international platform where we have lots of knowledge about different things. So we don't fill that socket of general knowledge, that also creates problem for us. Sometimes we know all the things how to write. Sometimes it happens that we have that ample checklist, but yes, you are right, practice is really important. Again, if you don't practice, plus you don't have general knowledge, and for that you have to keep yourself engaged in so many things. Look, everybody is studying, everybody is having that curriculum, everybody is facing time management and all that, but that needs attention. When you know the things going on around you, that is again really important.
Definitely, ma'am. Definitely. So thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to say thanks to you on behalf of the entire FAST family, from our director, Mr. Jawad Ahmad Shamsi, and from our HOD of Science and Humanities Department, Ms. Samira Sultan, and from on behalf of my students as well, for taking out some valuable time for us, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, students, for being a part of this session. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz, everyone.